favor and confirm that you can hear me okay and see my screen? You can use the question panel in the sidebar to communicate with me and let me know that all is good, that the communication is good. I'd really, really appreciate it. So some of you on the line now could do that for me. That'd be great. Let's see. Okay, good. Oh, my friend Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. Glad you can see. And for those of you that are also letting me know that, thanks so much. Okay, so let's get going on this thing. Let me just get this started. Sorry, let's see. Okay, so this is actually a presentation that I did. My name is Melissa Zavala, and I'm a broker in San Diego County. And I am previously in 2 rodeos ago, I did a lot of teaching. I was an English teacher, and so when I got into real estate, my little niche has been more as a broker and an administrator, doing a lot of writing, teaching, and coaching to other real estate professionals after grooming my own team and office. And I can tell you a little bit more about that as we go through the presentation. But I went to one of the presentations that I've done recently. I did at the California Association of Realtors annual meeting in October. It was called Finding Listings in Any Market. And it was sold out. And so there were so many people outside that said, oh, I didn't get to see the presentation, that I did it again as a webinar for those people in November. And I thought I'd do it again now because I see that the market's changing. And we had over 100 signups, so I could see that there are people that are really eager to get listings and really happy to provide that information. A lot of the tips and tools I'm going to go through, you can learn more about them on my website, which is melissazavala.com. And so that's how you spell my name. It's right down here, melissazavala.com. And you can actually download a previous version of this presentation. I updated it last night for today from slideshare.net. Just look me up and you can swipe that presentation. Lots of people like to look at the slides as you go through this presentation. I think you're going to find that the slides might just jog your memory about something. They're not going to give away all the goods. But if you listen carefully and take notes and just think about what I say, I think you will find that you can generate some additional listings in 2015. So without further ado, I know that you're on this call because for some reason you might want to get more listings in 2015. Now, I learned fairly recently that in San Diego County, the average number of closings per year per agent was 5.5. So that's a closing, I calculate, what is that, like every about 10 weeks or 9 weeks. So it's hard for real estate professionals who are only closing 1 transaction every 10 weeks to, 1, keep abreast of what's going on in the industry, because the more you move, the more you're kind of in the field, the more you know what's going on, the more you feel it, and the subtle nuances of the business that change, you're actively involved in those and you see them happening in real time. So, and it's also hard to compete with other people because it's difficult when you go and if they're looking at your history, they may say, hey, you've only done about 5 deals this year versus this other guy I just interviewed that closed 40. So, we want to, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to fake it till you make it because I think that that's a really, really important part of getting more listings. So some of the things that we're going to talk about is I'm going to give a brief review of the current real estate market stats, just very, very brief, and then I'm going to talk about some success systems for obtaining listings in any market. And then I'm going to give out a few, what I think are often ignored sources of listing leads. And then I'm going to discuss some of my favorite technology and tools for generating listings and maintaining top-of-mind awareness. So I'll be going over and touching on those things throughout the next 45 minutes or so. Again, feel free to use the question panel to communicate with me and ask me any questions. I won't be ignoring you. I don't have a moderator today, so if you hear me pause, it's because I'm reading the question, and I may be able to talk and chew gum at the same time, but I may not be able to read and focus on doing the presentation at the same time. So be patient with me on that. Once in a blue moon, technology goes out, internet gets hokey, stuff like that. Don't worry if we get disconnected. You stay on the line, I'll call in again, or if you get disconnected, you just call back in, and as long as it's not the GoToMeeting system that's down, we'll be back together shortly. So be patient on that, and here we go. So one of the huge things that needs to be done with obtaining listings is you really need to understand the market of the moment. You need to think carefully about what's going on in the market and how can I tap in or play on that in order to achieve more listings. And I'm going to give you the two key questions in just a little while that will help you to like evoke some thought and consider, you know, what can I do? What niche can I fill, you know, that will help me. I think you've probably heard the story before, but if not, for those that haven't, I'm going to repeat it. So there is this very, very wealthy woman, and she lives in New York City. And she wants to go on a trip. And so she goes to the bank and she says, can you please lend me $25,000 to go on my European vacation? And they say, but ma'am, you have tons of money. Why do you need this $25,000 from the bank? And she says, well, I really need the money. You know what? I'll give you my rolls as collateral. So they agree. She signs the paper. She gets the $25,000. She leaves her Rolls Royce at the bank. And when she comes back from the trip, again, they say, ma'am, we still don't understand why. You know, she pays off the loan. It was like $25,016. And again, they say, well, still don't understand why you needed to borrow this money for the trip. And she says, well, where else could I park my Rolls in New York City for $16? So she was thinking like this little creative, intuitive, I mean, it's a little riddle, but it's just a little creative way of thinking about the world and thinking about things. And sometimes you need that level of creativity to figure out what aspect of the market can I play on to get more listings the way things are going. So, you know, we're going, what in the world is going on? So right now, it's been really, really interesting because when I originally did this presentation last year, I was talking about the market times increasing. So we were seeing in early 2013, we saw market times at about, absorption rates at about a month. So in a lot of parts of the United States, even kind of the most unattractive homes were getting multiple offers. There was very little on the market. If nothing new came on the market, all of the homes on the market would have been gone in 3 to 4 weeks. And so, of course, it was a clear seller's market, and people were getting tons, you know, lots of money for their homes, and they were selling very quickly. And then it seemed like over the course of the next 8 or 9 months, 10 months, or a year, finally the other sellers got on board and said, yeah, I want to sell my home. So market times increased significantly because more stuff came on the market, so buyers had more choice. So, you know, we got this monthly supply and an impact on sale chart. But what's really interesting is that, so in 2014, we saw a significant increase in market time. But now in 2015, all of a sudden, within the last 3 weeks or so, we've seen some real big changes, particularly at the lower end. And I know that there are people on the call because I recognize a lot of names that are in very expensive luxury areas. But at the lower end, the FHA has reduced the mortgage insurance to 0.85. I believe that was effective just on Monday, but that increased the buying power. People would qualify for more. So now there's more buyers in the market at the low end, and so that's pushing everything up. So now those low-end homes are getting multiple offers. That's pushing up the price. So all the values are increasing as a result of this FHA change. Plus, still, we've got these historically low interest rates. They are, NAR did project that they go up to 5% by the end of 2015, but they're still pretty low. I mean, when I got my first house, we thought we were getting a smoking rate at 9%. I know people that said they thought they were getting a smoking rate a few years before I got my first house for 14%. So 5 is still not bad, but you know, we've become so we've gotten into the 3s, so we get so interested in you know, so 5 seems high in comparison. But so that as a result of what's going on in the HOA, we've seen some real changes just in the last few weeks or so in what's going on in the market. And of course, I've got Bob Dylan here, if you didn't pick up on that. That's his song. So the times, they are changing in 2015. So you as a listing agent kind of need to be thinking about that and aware of that. And another thing that you need to do is you really need to establish a very good routine. And the classic things that happens to agents is that the minute they get busy, the routine goes by the wayside. And thus that creates those famous peaks and valleys in your income and in your business that Brian Buffini always talks about. So you've got to establish that routine and stick to it. it's a certain level of kind of internal motivation, but you've got to say, oh, gee, I didn't get to this today, so now I'm going to stay up 2 extra hours and do it. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to stay away from those peaks and valleys in your business. So establishing a good daily routine is very, very important. So consistency is key. And even though Emerson said a foolish consistency is a hobgoblin of little minds, consistency in your daily routine is very, very important. So if you're doing your power hour calling on Thursdays, your meetings on Mondays, only setting appointments in the afternoons, but it's very, very important to do your best to be consistent. So once you've identified your listing sources, and we're going to talk about listing sources shortly, you're going to schedule your routine marketing activities for each of those listing sources. There's so many different sources, potential sources of listings, and we're going to go over 7 of them. But the key is to always do the same things with the same sources. I wrote an article recently where I said, I think that the successful realtor is more regimented than a person working on an assembly line that does the same thing, because they're doing the same thing every day, day in and day out. And of course, real estate professionals, the most successful, top producing real estate professionals are also doing the same things day in and day out. So we're going to talk about what some of those things are. Well, first thing is you want to make a stupendous pre-listing package. So this is going to be when you're working late at night to do this. And here you've got to have that ready before you go out to these sources. And this is where I was talking about faking it till you make it. When a top producing agent, they have their signs all over the neighborhood already. So those signs send a message of implicit trust. It's like an implicit testimonial without words. It's the fact that if so-and-so has a sign all over town, he must be a good realtor, so I'm going to call him. So it's almost like those people can charge more for their service. They can charge an admin fee on top of it, and nobody's going to question it, because the thought is, oh, well, if all those people all over town are using them, they must be the best. So if you're not a person with your signs all over town, you're going to compensate with incredible marketing materials, just unbelievably gorgeous marketing materials. And one of the places where you can get some, if you don't have a designer, or if your company doesn't have some branded stuff for you to use to create this, if you haven't done this before, I really, really encourage you to look at, and I'm not affiliated with them at all, breakthroughbroker.com. That's breakthroughbroker.com. They have all sorts of flyer templates, brochures you can make, all sorts of things, and then they'll generate a PDF for you at the end once you've created it, or you can order the printing through them. I think probably they make most of their money when you order the printing through them, but most of the people I know that use the service, they just download the PDF and send it to their local printer. But if you're looking, and what I like about Breakthrough Broker is not only that they give you all this stuff and you just fill in the blanks, the graphic design is very hip, it's very now, it's very clean lines, it's very stylish, it's not dated looking. So if you kind of want to give your stuff a facelift, or if you are still just looking to create some stuff, check out the create section of breakthroughbroker.com and see if you can do anything with their stuff. Anyway, so what's in this pre-listing package? So there's a color brochure of the seller's property, or a sample. So if you've got a color flyer or brochure that you've made for another property, you should put that into your pre-listing package so they could see a sample of the type of stuff that you'll do for them. A cover letter with your marketing proposal, so explaining what you're going to be doing, what your marketing plan is, and then a marketing chart or a 90-day marketing plan. And the service pledge, I'll maintain good communication. I'll send you emails weekly throughout the process. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. And if I don't do these things, hey, you can fire me, because you need to pledge your service if they're going to be paying you, if they're going to be paying the 6% commission. And then also, if you have one, a USP, a unique service proposition. So what's unique about your services? Why should you be hired versus that person down the street? What unique value do you provide? So for example, and maybe this is a bad example, but it's an example that comes to be now. Let's just say that you happen to be paying extra for Zillow or Trulia, for a zip code, or for premier placement next to your own listings. You're going to be getting a lot of leads from Zillow or Trulia. And that's the thing is that means you have a lot of home buyers in your back pocket. So that might be what's unique about you if another person doesn't have a lot of home buyers in their back pocket for the listing presentation. I can tell you that there's an agent in my office that used one of those lead generation pay-per-click sites, and I mean he has like 2,000 buyers in his back pocket that he, so that really gives him that unique selling point at the listing if they're on the fence about listing with him, is that he says, well, I can just go back and message all the people with those search criteria and tell them I'm getting a new listing. He can have that thing sold before it even hits the market almost. So staging guidelines, that's really, really important, because if they want to get top dollar for their home, it's got to look good, right? And a CMA. So for CMAs, I'm going to, in a little bit, I'll go over where you can get that stuff, my favorite CMAs, and then supply and demand data. This by far, for me, is the most important part of the listing presentation. If you do nothing else, when you go, you should bring a supply and demand data chart. And I was just thinking this morning, I will post one as a swipe file on my website, melissazavala.com, for you to download as an Excel spreadsheet so that you can create it really, really easily. But it's really a very small spreadsheet. Imagine 4 rows, 4 columns, and what it is for the price point. So let's just say that they want to list their house at $400,000. So you've got you do 350 to 375, 375 to 400, 400 to 425, and then 425 to 450. So that's your different price points. And then you go back and evaluate, and again, the Excel spreadsheet will do all the calculations, how many homes are active in each price point and how many are under contract in each price point. And then the chart will calculate for you how many homes obviously sell per month and what the percentage chance is that this client's property will sell. So if there are 50 homes on the market and only 3 are selling per month, the probability that your client's home is going to sell in 30 days is pretty slim. But it's very provocative evidence when they look at this chart. Gee, what do I need to do to be one of those 3 and 50 homes, or those 10 and 50 homes that sell, versus just telling them, oh, the average market time is 90 days. When they see, oh, only 3 out of 50 sell, or 10 out of 50, or whatever it is, then sellers begin to think, I need to do something. And so those sellers that don't have that pride of ownership, but they want to sell for top dollar, this really, really will get them on the same page as you, and perhaps motivate them to do a little bit of additional staging and preparation to sell their home. And then single property website, you can show a sample one, give them some links to some single property websites. And reviews and testimonials, really, really important. Have a list of reviews and testimonials. And of course, your personal contact information. So if you can put together like a folder with all of this stuff in it, I think this is very, very professional. It will show that you're organized and professional, which is what they're looking for. And it will also, if you have a little bit less experience with listings, this will compensate for that, because it will cement all of these other great qualities that you have. So definitely keep this list in mind and think about what you can work on as a pre-listing package for when you're going on all those listing appointments. And the one thing I want to say before we move into the 7 different traditional lead sources that are always available is the fact that a lot of times what sells a house is not the stuff on this list. But of course, you need to get the listing, and you need to do these things to satisfy the seller. I'm acquainted with the seller right now of one of the agents in my office, and he is enthralled with the single property website. Now, the single property website is not getting a lot of traffic, and then they never do. But what's really selling this property is the networking of the agent that has the listing. He's going to all of the local broker opens and caravans, and really and he's blasting all of his referral network, and he's getting a lot of showings for the property that way, because it's a very unique, large, multi-million-dollar property. So Anyway, this is a lot of stuff to satisfy the seller. It's also good because if other sellers see it, then they're also impressed with your services, so it sends a good message for future prospective sellers. But of course, in the back of your head, you know that some of, well, of course, staging is great, important, but some of the things, particularly like the single property website or the flyer, may not be the icing on the cake. It may just be a way that you're going to get more sellers and buyers in the future. So the 7 sources of listings, no matter the market. There are probably more. There are definitely more, in fact, but these are the 7 that we're going to discuss right now. Sphere of influence. And again, not rocket science, but let's discuss the sphere of influence. If you work your sphere, your circle of influence, you can get listings. Average person moves every 7 years. So if you market to your sphere for 7 years, over and over and over again, you should be getting all of them, most of them, within that 7-year period. And here are the different ways that you can market to your sphere of influence. Direct mail, you have most of their mailing addresses. Personal notes, particularly for your top 50 people that are constantly referring you. Pop buys for your top 25 or 30. Email, you can send, if you send email to your sphere, they're going to open your email. So if you want to put a lot of people in your sphere on some sort of newsletter, as long as it's not too canned or generic, they're going to be opening it and they'll be dialoguing with you. Calls and social media. So social media is a great place to keep in touch with people that you already know. Of course, it's a good place to get new leads as well, but it's a great place to keep in touch with people that you already know. So these are all the different ways of that you can communicate with your sphere. Through, and that's very, very important. So figure out, like, how often am I going to communicate with my top 50 favorite people, and make sure to calendar that communication. So for your top 50, every 2 months, I think, at least 6 times a year. And what are you going to do? Are you going to call them? Are you going to email them? Are you going to direct mail them? So some of the agents I know, they're sending biweekly to their whole sphere newsletters, and then they're calling their top 50 every 8 weeks, unless that person said, hey, call me back in a year, then they'll just maybe calendar for 6 months. But just keeping that top of mind awareness. And of course, again, through pop buys with your special people, if they give you an awesome referral, send them some cookies in the mail, or pop by and drop off a gift and things like that. So very, very important to use these ways to communicate with your personal sphere. Great source of listings, number 2, is to market around your own listings. So you've got a listing. Listings breed more listings in the same neighborhood. We've kind of talked about that already when I said that so-and-so has his signs all over town. That's because listings breed more listings. So if you have a listing in a neighborhood, even if it's not your geographical farm or neighborhood farm area, you should be marketing all of the neighbors around that home for, of course, to see if they know anyone that wants to buy the home, but maybe they want to list theirs too. And you've got that sign in the front yard, which is a testimonial for how awesome you are. It's a great testimonial for how awesome you are. So market around your own listings. You can do that by, when you get a new listing, you send a just listed postcard, then you capture the lead, and you follow up. So I'm not talking about just any postcard, but there are companies out there that, like the one I can think of right now is called CoreFact, and a lot of you have probably heard of them. And so when they send out, when you create your just listed postcard through CoreFact, it creates a special code for each recipient. And then the recipient can go online and see their home value. There's like a little map, and it says this is where your home is in relation to the home that was just listed. If you want to know your home's value, go to this website, put in this code. And lots of people do go on there because they're curious about their home value. And they like CoreFact. Recipients like that versus because they don't have to call you on the phone and, oh no, and you're just a salesperson. I don't want to call a salesperson. He might sell me. So the thing about CoreFact is they're landing on this very neutral looking website. They're putting in a 9-digit code so that, but of course you're going to get the information about who logged in and which property it is. So you can go over there, drop off a more specific CMA, try to initiate some conversation and see if they're thinking of listing or just curious about the values in the neighborhood, and just start to create a relationship. So the third way, now that we've kind of talked about the core fact, and they work really well also in your neighborhood farm. So your neighborhood farm, your geographic farm, you should be carefully selecting that, and it does often take a few years to permeate a neighborhood farm. And there are some products out there like, what is it called? Help me out, that do some like geo tracking and all these studies, and they'll send out all the mailers for you. But what they do is they analyze the turnover rate for homes in specific targeted areas. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on the name. But so you should really look at what you're selecting, if that neighborhood meets the criteria that you are considering for what you're looking for as far as being the local neighborhood expert. Is it at your price point? What is the average age of the people that live in that community? Does that work well for you? What is the turnover in that area? Is it an area that has a lot of REOs and short sales, which of course are going away or have gone away? Is it an area with a lot of renters? What is it? So learn about your neighborhood farm. And then when you've picked a neighborhood farm, you're going to want to do all sorts of things for people to know your name. Recommended, and I wrote an article about this on melissazavala.com, is the 7x7. So one mailing a week for 7 weeks, and then you can go down to one a month. But if you want to inject, it's a traditional kind of Keller Williams. I think they call it an 8x8, but it's 8 mailings in 8 weeks or 7 mailings in 7 weeks. So they're getting over and over and over mailings from you, and that's how you kind of get under their skin. And so that's how you create that top of mind awareness. So other things that you can do are community events, like one community event a year, particularly if it's a neighborhood where there's a local park or an area where you can hold maybe a block party. A woman I know did a doggy block party, because people don't want to deal with the realtor, but when it comes to like going out, taking your dog out for a walk, so she had like an agility station and dog trainers and doggy treats, and she did it at the end of a cul-de-sac, and she had her older kids help her with the coordinate it, and it was very, very well attended. And somebody else I know lived in a HOA, it was houses, but they pertained to an HOA that had a park at one of the corners, a little pocket park, and they were able to bring in like a rock climbing wall and even the ice cream man. And they did some co-marketing with a lender and an escrow company, a settlement company, and they did those IDs where you put in a lock of your child's hair, and it's just in case, of course, something catastrophic happens, but it does the child IDs. So they were able to it was very, very well attended. They had about 300 or 400 people from the community there with the families, kids going up the rock climbing wall for a few hours. So it was really, really great. If you want to do that, that's a way to get in there. Of course, if you are going to be using something like a pocket park, you need to talk with the HOA. Make sure you don't need any special bonding or insurance for anything like that. Open houses are great in your neighborhood farm. The one thing people always ask me is, well, I don't have any listings there. Well, that doesn't matter. Call other agents and see if you can hold their houses open. If there are other listings in your neighborhood farm and there's an out-of-area agent or an agent from an independent or small brokerage, they will have less strict policies and procedures and may be more interested in allowing you to do their open house. Now, I know that there are certain brokerages that don't permit their agents to hold open houses that aren't from their own company, so you'll have to check on that. But it is a great way to get known, and then what you can do is if you can rock that open house and you create a good relationship with that other agent, you can go over and preview the house, talk with the sellers, do some invitations to the neighbors, so you can really make a listing that's not your own into like a little party for the neighbors, and bring a lot of people in and get to know the neighbors. Having an exclusive, I don't know, bagels on Sunday morning, at the open house, even if it's not your open house. So we talked about the mailings a little bit, sending out value items in those mailings, or even dropping them off at the door. It seems really popular now to do door drops. It's a little cheaper than mailings, so you may be able to get some more stuff in the door drops. So what the door drop is instead of doing the mailing, just having someone walk the neighborhood and drop your flyer or your door hanger or your little gifty thing that you're going to leave, your pad or whatever, at the front door. Hosting community garage sales real good, and then you can go out and give some package of materials to all the people that have agreed to hold their have their garage sale on your day, pass out donuts, maps to the houses, things like that. And canned food drives are really good in the off season. People always do them around Thanksgiving and Christmas, but the food banks get really low in the spring and summer. So off season canned food drive is really, really good idea. So those are some ways that you can really permeate a neighborhood farm. The more you can do in your neighborhood farm, instead of just sending a mailing once a month, the better, because you want to create top of mind awareness as fast as possible, capture as many emails as you can, because email is free or close to free way to continue to market to those people. So if you're having a community event, try and have signups, try and collect email addresses, things like that. So the fourth thing that you can do to generate leads in any market is use an internet lead platform. So what internet lead platforms are ways to get leads off of the internet. So there's home buyer and home seller leads that you can get off the internet. Since we're talking about listings, we're going to talk about home seller leads. So there are companies called like Leads to Listings or Listings to Leads, Home Value Leads. And what they do is they create like a single page website, and it's got a specific domain. And then when someone lands there and they put in their property address, they get their home value. They have to enter their email, and then they immediately get a home valuation, like a mini CMA, in their email, but you've captured their email. So the pay-per-click home value ad, the owner sees the ad and visits the site to obtain the valuation. And then, as it says on this, the agent receives the lead and follows up. So the follow-up is key. Now, you have to be cool as a cucumber when you do that. So you know the information that they're getting, and there are more robust CMAs that you can provide, and I'll talk about those shortly. But you can even, if you have an email, you can say, hey, I heard a great one. It was something like, are you just trying to get an idea of the market, or do you need me to pinpoint the value exactly? So if they want you to pinpoint the value exactly, obviously they're thinking of moving. They want to know the value exactly of their home right now. So agent in my office tried something like that out, and the response he got, oh no, we're thinking of selling. We want to know the value. Well, that's what he wanted to know. Okay. So even though all of the CMAs take about the same time to create, it's a way to kind of gauge them, what if the owner just wants to know how much their home is worth, or if they're actually thinking of selling. Then you can stop by, drop off a CMA, which is more detailed, try to see, I was just in the neighborhood, I wanted to leave it. If they're not there and you've dropped by a few times and nobody's there, then I recommend leaving it in like a FedEx or UPS envelope, more likely to be opening that than if you just leave it in a white envelope at the door. So just thinking about those things. Obviously, if you get one, go on your local tax assessor records through the MLS if you have it connected this way, and make sure that the owner is an on-site owner, because of course when you check if the mailing address for their taxes is not the mailing address for the property, then they're out of area, and so you'll need to communicate with them in other ways, not go and buy the property. So keeping that in mind, so I really like, personally, I really like the home value leads one. I think it does a really good job. And then you can use, before I go to that, you can use like Facebook pay-per-click advertising to set that up so that you drive more traffic to your home value leads site. And there's a webinar recorded, melissazavala.com/speaking, I think is where it is. So melissazavala.com/speaking. There's a link to the webinar on how to create the Facebook ads for this kind of campaign. So if you want to watch that, I had special guest broker Brian Robertson that taught everyone how to create those Facebook ads for this exact campaign. So he does a really, really good job in spelling it out, and he has cracked the code, it seems like. So the CMAs that are really, really robust and clear are the Touch CMA, the Cloud CMA. A lot of MLSs and associations have that as a member benefit. The Realtor Property Resource, which is free to everyone who's a realtor, it's called RPR, and that's at narrpr.com, or you can get a property profile from your title company. So all of those provide a really, really polished, very comprehensive comparative market analysis for your client. Oftentimes, the agents at my office use Cloud CMA because that one in particular goes back in and fishes out the estimates. And of course, the classic objection that we have from sellers is, but Zillow says my house is worth X. So by including those estimates within the CMA, you've kind of already addressed that issue without having to have a conversation. So it's really, really, I think it's a really, really powerful way. Between that and the supply and demand data spreadsheet, which I talked about at the beginning, I think it's a great, those are some really, really compelling armor that you should have, strong armor that you should have when working on obtaining listings in this market. Okay, expireds, canceled, and for sale by owners. That's our fifth one. And of course, this one takes a lot of good scripting, really powerful scripting, and a lot of dedication. Of course, expireds are generally easier than canceled and easier than for sale by owners, in my opinion, because they wanted to sell and their listing expired and they didn't sell successfully. If they still want to sell, they're really irritated at their previous realtor for not selling. Maybe they listed it over the price that she or he had recommended, but now they may be willing to go down. I had heard this joke once that said it's always best to be the firstborn child, the second wife, and the third realtor. So when you're the third realtor, the owner supposedly is already beaten down. They'll accept your terms and your price because they just want to get it sold. So that's why expireds are good. So let's talk about that. So letter campaigns, you can create letter campaigns for sale by owners. You can offer free flyers. You can have your lender partner go over and say, hey, we'll create some flyers for your for sale by owner. And of course, if they cooperate with, if the for sale by owner, if the owner cooperates with agents, and your friend at Bank of America does the flyers for you, he'll call you anytime someone calls him to get qualified to buy this home, and maybe you can represent that person. CMAs for the for sale by owners and for the expired, calls, and this is blocking, sorry, internet. You can use an internet platform for the leads, such as the RedX or Land Voice, which those things, they work. If you make the calls every morning and you've got some good scripts, they work. I saw it, one of the Facebook groups I'm in, that somebody, some office already got 13 expired listings this year, and we're almost at the end of January, but that's pretty amazing. So they must have some really good scripting, and I know that they're using one of those internet platforms for leads. I mean, these things are so sophisticated. If you haven't looked at them, they have a dialer in place. So basically, it'll just start dialing all the numbers so somebody picks up, so that you don't have to hang up, pick up, redial, look at the computer, what's the number again, do it again. Another thing I really like is for sale by owners. You can look at the Make Me Move component of Zillow. If you've never been there, that's the first place that you should go when you hang up from this call or you stop listening to this call, because all people have put up their homes on Zillow and said, I want to sell my house, this is how much I want. So, of course, as long as they're somewhere within the ballpark, there is a for sale by owner for the taking if you can convince them that they might want to list their property. So, again, you've got to have that unique service proposition in order to be able to do that. Rental listings. So, rentals are, property management rentals are really great. We have a property management division at my brokerage, and we do see a lot of listings at the brokerage come from people that had rented them out that are now ready to sell. So if you can have a huge property management portfolio, then there are some, that's a good place, a good source of listings. But in addition to that, you can find non-owner occupied properties and market to the off-site owners and create some, who obviously, if they're not planning to move back, it might be a good time for them to sell. They may need to sell because it's a 1031 exchange situation. They have no more depreciation left. They've owned the property for over 25 years, and so they can't take all the maximize their tax deductions anymore. So, or it might just be a headache because they're getting older and they don't need any more headaches, or maybe they need to liquidate their assets to have money for retirement. All of these might be reasons to get listings of current rented properties. So finding those off-site owners and marketing to them would be a really, really great source. So why do people rent their homes, and what would make them want to sell? Well, I've already told you that. They rent them perhaps for the income if they're owned outright. Maybe they rented them because they were upside down or almost upside down, but now the market's appreciated in the last 3 years almost 25%. So maybe now they can sell their property and have equity, and maybe that's what they've been waiting for. You've got to go out and figure out why are they renting their home and what would make them want to sell, and market to that. And then you can also target, this is our last one for today, target retiring agents, with the average agent being 56 according to the NAR 2014 member profile. There are a lot of agents, at least in my local area, that are probably going to be retiring in the next 5 to 10 years. I often, I'm not quite 56 yet, but I do often bring down the mean age at some of our meetings. So look around and see who's retiring, and if they need someone to provide them with support. If you can partner, if you can do a team thing, or if they can just give you all their leads for a referral fee. So create some sort of relationship with those people that may be retiring soon. And you can find yourself a fairly decent source of leads. So there's really 2 steps to the process of identifying market-based listing sources. We talked about the market at the beginning, the first few minutes of the call, and you have to put on your thinking cap. You have to figure out what's going on in the market and how can I leverage that thing to generate more business. So the examples I can give is, so the market is falling and free falling in 2007, 2008, and there are agents, and I was at a different brokerage then. I didn't have my own brokerage yet, and they were complaining, oh my God, the market, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, you've got all of these people, the unemployment rate is 14%. They've all lost their jobs. They can't afford their mortgage, so they have to sell. So what are you going to do? You're going to leverage that to generate more business. You're going to leverage the fact that people need to sell to generate more business. Right now, what's going on in the market, one of the things that there are lots of things going on in the market, but one that I mentioned at the beginning of the call was that change in the FHA. It's bringing tons of new buyers into the buying pool. Great time for sellers to list their homes. And I think the rates are, the values are appreciating as a result of this, like I said, at all levels. So being able to capitalize on that, think like the lady did about where she's going to park her rolls. Be smart. Think about how you can capitalize on what's going on, and you will really, really be able to get in there. Let's see. Okay, so great point. Dan just pointed out that was a great thing that happened in the market. Thank you, Dan, for reminding me. Effective February 1st, I think half a relocation is $10,000. So as it went up from, was it 3,000. 3,000, which is where it was before. So that's a pretty significant increase. So if you've got short sale, so how are you going to get short sale leads? It's a great thing to capitalize. Dan, I actually have a link on shortsaleexpediter.com/speaking, I think it's speaking, to a recorded webinar on how to get short sale listing leads. So I would encourage you to watch that if you haven't. But in a nutshell, I would really go back to my title company. I don't know if you're in California or not in California, kind of limited in California on what they can provide, and ask them to create a campaign for you that could help you identify the NODs, of course, the notices of default, and also there are some ways that certain people that work with data can search for like a soft credit inquiry that can kind of tell you if people have missed like 3, 4, or 5 payments on their mortgage, and I would start working on those, and I would do a postcard campaign, a 7x7 campaign with that $10,000, and keep it really simple, really minimal text, and say, did you hear the news? You can get $10,000 if you short sale your home in 2015. And so that's the news. Of course, just say you can, because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not participating in that. So you don't want to imply that it's guaranteed. So you just want to get the call so you can explain more in detail. So I hope that helps. Hope that helps all the other people on the call. So how will you manage your lead flow? And this is like we talked about at the beginning, it gets cuckoo when you get busy. So you've got to figure out a way to manage your lead flow. And so you've got to use some sort of plan and computer program like a CRM to manage your lead flow. So what seems to work best is to pick your own CRM. Do I have a list of them? No, I don't have a list here. But there's like Contactually, iExactContact, Referral Maker, Top Producer, all of these different products, Realty Juggler, Insightly, the list goes on and on. You know, if anyone is looking for, I have studied them all, and if you're looking for a CRM, I thought there was a list here. Maybe there is a few slides down. But if you're looking for CRMs and you've looked at a few and you want my input, you know, I've written some articles about it. You can look at those. But you know, email me. I'll be happy to give you my insight. info@melissazavala.com. info@melissazavala.com. But what I can say is that no CRM is going to do exactly what you want it to do. So here's the deal. There are two things you want to know. There are products like Follow Up Boss out there that will manage, and actually Trulia has one, I believe now, called Trulia One, and it will manage your lead sources from all of your different sales funnels. So if you've got stuff coming in from Corfact, and you've got stuff coming in from Zillow, and you've got stuff coming in from your website or Diverse Solutions or wherever, then all of that will go into one place. So you're not getting all these weird random emails. So that's really helpful. And then Follow Up Boss in particular has some templated drip campaigns and things like that. So that might be something to look at. But as far as CRMs go, something like Top Producer has all the bells and whistles. It creates your flyers for you. It manages contract to close. But you may not need that. So that's why you have to kind of figure out, do I just need something until I get to contract, or do you need something that actually manages the whole sales flow from contract to close? The other thing is, and this is very, very old school, but I swear it works, make your hot pipeline, make a spreadsheet. You can do it in Google Spreadsheets. You can do it in Excel. If you're sharing it with your team, if you've got other people you're working with, make a spreadsheet of your buyer pipeline and your seller pipeline, like your hot, maybe you're out 3 to 6 months, might be up to 2 pages. It could be long, and then print it out every Monday morning and carry it around with you. And as you go through your day and you start getting calls, just jot down on there your new buyer and seller prospects, and then like Friday, update your chart. And then, you know, look at your chart on Friday also and say, did I touch base with all of these people? Just eyeball it really quick. Did I touch base with all of these people this week? If you didn't, you know, you've got some calls to make on Friday. But sometimes someone's going to call you and you're going to be out in the field and you're not going to be able to get on your phone or your computer to write stuff down. So this is just having that little 2 pieces of paper with your buyer and seller pipeline in your little notebook that you carry around to take notes. It's really, really helpful. So companies that automate lead management see a 10% or greater increase in revenue in 6 to 9 months. So I mentioned like Follow Up Boss. You look at Follow Up Boss. There's another one called Pipeline ROI. That might be something to look at as well. And so you just got to keep really, really organized. You've got to have your lists. You've got to have a good team. If you're getting busy, you've got to have a good team behind the scenes to help you, because once, you know, it can get real, if you start doing all of these different things, or even 4 of them, you're going to have so many different things being thrown at you in a day that you might be ready to burst if you don't keep yourself really, really organized. But there are really no shortage of listing leads, at least that's my perspective. You just got to master the market of the moment, and it starts with a great plan. So I gave you kind of 7 ways that you can work in the traditional, you know, it doesn't matter the market where you might be able to work and get some leads. You've got to have a good marketing plan for each of those. You've got to sit down and you've got to say, I'm going to work a neighborhood farm, and this is what I'm going to do. And then meet with a designer to design all the postcards and the mailings, and are they going to be hand delivered or mailed? Figure it all out at once so you don't have to go back and do it. Calendar it. Now, if you've got to mail out something the 15th of every month, put it on your calendar. Put down the day it needs to go to the printer on your calendar now. So if you sit down and do that for 2 or 3 hours, then you don't have to worry about it the whole entire year. Motivation gets you started. Habit keeps you going. I talk a lot in a lot of my speeches about people say, well, how do you get the outcome? Because I've helped a lot of agents go from like 30 deals a year up to 150 deals a year. You get the outcome by focusing on the process and not the outcome. So if you do the daily activities, if you do your social media, if you send out your postcards, if you make your calls, the habit will keep you going. And that's how you will see the success. As far as the technology and tools, of course, you need some discipline with them, but you can, when you use the technology and tools, you can increase your listings. Some of the technology can be difficult to learn, and that, of course, slows things down, but you can increase your listings, and I hope that you will if you seize the day. So I think that now is really better than 6 months ago, a great time to get listings. As I said, the changes I see in the market in the last few weeks, really, agents in my office are having to write 3 and 4 offers, 5 offers for clients because they're getting into multiple offer situations and they're not winning or beating out the others. So what better time to get more listings, to tell people we're seeing multiple offers. If you want to sell now. So find the people who want to sell, convince them to sell now. They can get top dollar for their home. Prepare your pre-listing package this weekend between, I guess, before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl, but really, really great time to get more listings for 2015. So it's the beginning of the year, and I just wish you all a super successful 2015. Here's my email. You can reach me out to me on Twitter or Facebook. You can also read my articles on Agent Genius, Real Uoso, and Trulia.
Yeah. What?
And anyway, so thank you all for coming, and I wish you much success in 2015. Do you have any questions? I'll hang out after the webinar, and I will have a look. Otherwise, if you don't have any